I'm sure you guys have seen the thumbnail picture of this live, and it depicts Donald Trump in a very triumphant pose. I am certain that you guys are going to see that picture displayed loud and proud over the next 4 to 5 months on campaign posters, advertisements. It was an iconic picture. It's the kind of image that will be remembered for hundreds of years, if not more. It's the kind of image that is going to endure long after we're gone as a hallmark of what the political landscape was like in America. In 2024, July of 2024. So it come to find out, we just had a national debate aired, and to be honest with you, I was so ready to just be checked out. It's like, you know what? I'm not voting for anybody. I don't care what's going on. I don't know anything about who I'm going to vote for, or do I particularly care? I was so disgusted just at the prospect that it's been, 8 years now, and there's been nobody else to step up other than Donald Trump from the Republican Party. And the fact that Joe Biden is literally having medical issues, appears to be in the early stages of dementia, possibly suffering from Parkinson's disease, and they're just running him right back up there. It just left me really disgusted with the palette of choices for the American people going into 2024, such that I was ready to be checked out of all of it. It's like, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be part of this. He was within 150 yards of the president. The going story from the Secret Service is that he was outside of their security perimeter. I don't know how if you realize how short of a distance 150 yards is. I mean, that's literally a pitching wedge on the golf course. Literally one of the weakest clubs, and you just, pitch it over there 150 yards and you're on the green. That's how far it was. And he had a clean shot. He literally was set up. It's not like he was in a ghillie in a sniper's nest. He wasn't really particularly hidden at all. There was people in the public, in the general public, that had eyeballed him long before he ever got off that shot. There was people trying to alert law enforcement. It seemed like the Secret Service had a couple of snipers literally peering into that area where this young man was before he decided to take the shot. And they didn't do anything about it. The roof was literally white. There was no camouflage whatsoever. He stood out like a sore thumb. I mean, he literally was like a highlighted letter in the midst of a page of random text. He could not have been more ubiquitous to anybody that was interested in security. There's been a rich history of assassination attempts on presidential candidates. There hasn't been a meaningful assassination attempt since 1981. Folks, I was an infant. I'm talking about Ronald Reagan. And even that was not like some obvious sniper position. I don't know how many of you all play Call of Duty, but there's like obvious camping spots where snipers usually go, and they think that they're being slick, but everybody knows that those are the spots, and so they always get shot like right away. This guy was in one of those spots, not even hidden by a shadow, not even hidden behind some kind of a cardboard, whatever. Just out there, chilling with like the crowd, and nobody did anything about it. And if indeed he was outside beyond the boundaries of the Secret Service security perimeter, why was it only 150 yards? You know how close that is? We are no strangers to political assassination attempts. Mm-hmm. There's a rich history of American presidents and successful attempts. Abraham Lincoln being the most obvious and most famous, way back in 1865, as he sat and he watched on a Good Friday on April 14th, 1865, at the famous Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. At around 10:15 p.m., he's assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. A massive manhunt ensues, and they hunt him down, and like he was hiding in some barn, and they burned it down, and they got him. But that was the most famous. He was shot, and then there's pictures of him that is questionable whether or not it's been authenticated, but there's literally images of him where you can see kind of his eye bulging out from his wounds. He died a short time later. James Garfield, the assassination of him, the 20th president of the United States. That began at the Baltimore and Potomac Railroad Station in D.C. on July 2nd, 1881. It was 4 months after he took office. Now, he was shot. He was arriving at a train station, and he was shot twice by writer and lawyer Charles Guiteau with a .442 caliber Webley British Bulldog revolver. One bullet grazed his shoulder, the other pierced his back, and it took about 11 weeks for him trying to recover from that injury before he finally succumbed to his injuries. William McKinley, back in 1901 at 4:07 p.m. at the Temple of Music in Buffalo, New York. He was attending a Pan American exposition, was shot twice in the abdomen at close range by Leon Chalshik, who was an anarchist who was armed with a .32 caliber Liver Johnson safety automatic revolver that was concealed underneath a handkerchief. Security was much more lax back then.
Yeah, I bet. Were there metal detectors or anything like that? How long ago was that?
That was back in 1901.
So no?
There weren't metal detectors. So you could literally hide a firearm under a handkerchief, as he did.
Yikes.
He took out McKinley.
I didn't remember that one.
Oh, well, I wouldn't imagine you would. It was a little bit before your time.
Well, no, I wasn't there for it, dude. I mean, I don't remember learning about that one. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, McKinley was not a memorable president, I guess. That's what I would say to that. But as the story goes, the first bullet ricocheted off either a button or an award medal on McKinley's jacket and lodged in his sleeve. The second shot pierced his stomach. And although McKinley initially appeared to be recovering, his condition rapidly declined because, gangrene and medical technology wasn't what it is today. There's, of course, the JFK assassination, but what about the unsuccessful attempts? There was literally an attempt on Theodore Roosevelt. I believe it was in 1912. He was running for literally a third term in office. He was president from 1900 to 1908. He sat out a term. Everybody wanted him to run for a third term. He said, no, I'm going to honor the 2-term thing. And then he tries to run again. He's giving a speech in public. And back then there's no microphones. And Theodore Roosevelt, if you've never studied his oratory abilities, is one of the greatest orators of the 19th, 20th century, whatever. But he was shot in the chest, and it hit him in his speech. And the bullet lodged like an inch deep in his chest or something like that, and he continued and finished his speech very much in the same vein as Donald Trump, who gets up and triumphs.